Hello learners and viewers, welcome to this session. Today's topic is social audit and gender audit. This topic is part of the second year course MGSE 002 Gender Audit and Gender Budgeting. Already we have discussed about what is gender audit, what is gender budgeting, benefits of gender budgeting. This session specifically we discuss about social audit, benefits of social audit with the help of certain case studies. When we discuss about the steps in doing social audit, we can also discuss some of the case studies for the benefit of your understanding. All of you must be gone through this course MGSE 002 who have already re-registered for the second year courses. There are 10 options in the second year courses. Out of 10 optional courses, you have to choose 8 optional courses. Whoever chosen this specific optional course MGSE 002, this topic will be very much useful. Learning objective of this session is to steps and benefits of social auditing. What are the steps in doing the social audit, as well as what are the benefits when we do the social audit. You all know that Government of India as well as respective state governments, they implement various policies and programs at the grassroots. Even both urban and rural areas, governments, other international and transnational organization also, they implement various projects, policies and programs. Okay, they are implementing. How do we know that whoever, like specifically when the state as well as central governments, when they implement various policies and programs, how will we come to know that the benefits of that particular policies and program really reached the intended beneficiaries? That is the first question. It comes to our mind. The second significant question comes to our mind is to know whether the intended beneficiaries really benefited or not. What are the methodological tools to really to know the entire process, whether the benefits have reached or not? So for that question, the answer is that social audit and gender audit. Now let us learn about the steps in doing the social audit. First, there are 6 steps when we talk about the social auditing. The step 1 is the preparatory activities. In that preparatory activities, first of all, whoever they do social audit. When we talk about the social audit, it is not about that individual could able to do the social audit. It is not like that. So the implementing organization, like for example, if it's a government programs, lowest implementing unit is that Gram Panchayat. Above that, most of the programs will be implemented or routed through district administration. So there are we should have a people from the district administration. That is the first thing. Second significant component we need to here understand that when we do the social audit, the beneficiaries also, they should actively participate while carrying out the social audit. That is the second. So all the beneficiaries as well as implementing agencies, they should come together. They have to do the social audit. Thus, the first step in doing the social audit is the preparatory activities. In that preparatory activities, one must understand key principles of social audit. Second significant activities in the preparatory step is to list the core values of department and programs. Which department or programs it has been implemented in particular district, in specific district or particular areas. So what are the core values of that particular department or the program? For example, if it comes to Government of India program, whether Department of Women and Child Development or Department of Rural Development or like for example Department of Agriculture, whichever the department implementing that specific program, one must know their core values of that particular department or the values of that particular program and third significant step one is that list down social objectives of the department is working towards our programs it aims to contribute. Then next step in this step is that match activities with the objectives, list current practices and delivery systems, and as well as we need to fix the responsibility for doing social audit in the department. That is very important. As I have mentioned, whatever the program we take it up, any one of the government department, they will implement that particular program in that particular district or in particular gram panchayat, or they implement at the entire state. Thus, when we decide to do the social audit, it is very important to fix the responsibility for doing social audit in the department. Who is the responsible to do that particular social audit in that particular department? Finally, you all know that without the budget, we cannot carry out any activities. So, whichever the department, they decide to do the social audit, they have to allocate enough budget to do the social auditing process. These are the initial stages of doing the social audit. When it comes to step 2, the step 2 specifically, we have to define audit boundaries and identifying stakeholders. In the beginning itself, I have mentioned that whatever the programs we take, there is an implementing agency, there is a beneficiaries, as well as there will be some other departments who may be aligned with that implementing agency to make that program more successful. Thus, when we decide to do the social audit, it is important to define audit boundaries as well as identifying the stakeholders. You all must be, as a listener, as a learner, you all must be wondering what is audit boundaries. See, when you do the financial audit, the auditing process is totally different. So, during the financial audit, mostly the auditing process concentrates on existing documents. Unlike financial audit, when we do the social audit, it is important to identify who is the beneficiaries, which department is implementing the particular program. So, it's more on the process as well as who is getting the benefit out of that particular programs, unlike in a financial audit. So, this, when we do the social audit, there may not be there is no need to do the financial audit. So, it is important to define boundaries. So, which are the aspects are we going to concentrate when we do the social audit? That boundaries, once we fix that boundaries, it is important to follow those boundaries. Accordingly, we need to do the social audit. Thus, elaborate key issues for social auditing based on the social objectives, as well as prepare a statement of purpose, objectives, key issues and activities for social audit. These are the major steps as far as step 2 is concerned. In that step 2 itself, we need to identify the key stakeholders for consultation, both government and civil society. Maybe some of the programs, government may implement those programs, but civil society organizations who are working in that particular area, they may be very active in implementing those programs, and they may collaborate with government for implementing those programs. Thus, it is important to identify the stakeholders for consultation, including government as well as civil society, members from the civil society organization. We need to forge the consensus on audit boundaries, identify stakeholders and formalize commitments. These are also very important as far as social auditing is concerned. So far, I have explained 2 steps. In this 2 steps, one is that once we need to know what is the objective of that particular department, as well as we need to identify the boundaries for doing the social audit, as well as we need to know who are all the stakeholders when we do the social auditing. As a learner, you must be knowing that We do social audit to know whether the intended benefits have reached the intended beneficiaries or not. That is the, so for second one is that, for example, if the government has allocated a particular percentage of amount for a particular program, we need to understand that the entire benefits, the amount, whatever the amount allocated for that particular programs, whether it has spent for the intended activities, that we need to know. For these objectives, when we do the social audit, we could able to clearly come out whether the benefits have reached or not, that we will come to know about it. Thus, the objective of doing the social audit is to know whether benefits have reached or not. The steps 3 in this entire process is social accounting and bookkeeping. That is very important. We need to select the performance indicators for social accounting. Okay, that is very important. Whatever we do auditing, whatever activities we carried out, so it is important to develop the performance indicators. For example, if a particular program is regarding the financial benefit of specifically the women in rural areas, then we need to develop indicators whether the government programs or direct benefit programs, whether if the government is transferring the certain amount every month to the women in a particular area, then we need to develop indicators. How are they spending that amount? For example, whether it has improved their nutrition, will they able to send their children to the schools? How do they spend that amount? As well as, is it reduce their burden specifically on activities related to care? Those things we can develop based on the existing roles. We can develop indicators. Based on that indicators, one can do the social auditing to know whether the benefit has reached, and whether that organization, whichever the government departments are implementing that particular program, will they able to fulfill that program's objectives or not. The next significant activities as far as step 3 is concerned, identify which existing records can be used. We need to identify what additional data to be collected, who would collect this data, and when, how. This is very important. For example, when we do the social audit, we can go to the field and we can go through the existing data. Based on that, one can prepare a report. Second one is that we can make the beneficiaries to come to that particular place, and one can verify the existing records by involving the beneficiaries. Thus, one can verify the existing records and one can prepare the final report. Not only reviewing the existing records, sometimes when we do the social audit, we need an additional data to verify whether the benefits have reached or not. In that, if we decided, if the team who has, whichever the team who is carrying out the social auditing in the field, if they have decided to collect the additional data, then they have to clearly states that who will collect that additional data, when will they collect that additional data, how will they collect that additional data, when they decided to collect the additional data, do they have enough resources to collect the additional data. So they themselves have to answer all these questions, and once they get a clarity on these aspects, then they can go ahead and collect the additional data to complete the social auditing process. As well as in this step, other activities to be carried out is to identify when stakeholders would be consulted and what. That also, when they carried out the social auditing, in which step, when they could able to consult the stakeholders to know additional information, as well as they have to prepare a social accounting plan and timeline, and they need to plan for monitoring social accounting activities. The step 4 in this entire process is to preparing and using social accounts. In this step, one has to prepare a social accounts using existing information, data collected and views of stakeholders. This is the very significant step as far as social auditing process is concerned. During this process, we need to identify the key issues for action, as well as we need to take stock of objectives, activities and core values. And during this process, one can set the targets for future. These are the significant steps as far as step 4 is concerned. That is to preparing and using social accounts. Already, they like whatever the government programs, they may have a proper accounts. Those accounts can be analyzed. That is the using existing information, and as well as during that process, if they may decide to collect the additional data that can be collected, as well as the views of the stakeholders, they can be properly analyzed during this process. Based on that, they can set the targets for future. The step 5 in this entire process is social audit and dissemination. In this step, one has to present the social accounts to the social auditor. Okay, this is very significant. Once they complete the process of social auditing, like they cannot keep those records in the office, or like it is not meant for filing. That once the entire social auditing process is completed, whatever the informations they have collected, whatever the reports they have prepared, it is meant to be disseminated. The social auditor verifies the data used, what are the data they have used, assess the interpretation and comment on the quality of social accounting and reporting. Thus, this particular specific individual who are assigned as a social auditor, that particular social auditor, he or she could verify the existing data, as well as they could assess and they could interpret, and they could able to comment on social accounting, and they could able to report it. Social accounts revised in accordance with social auditors' recommendations. The social auditor has to collect the information from the stakeholders regarding the program implementation and benefits occurred to them, disseminate social auditors consolidate a report to the decision making committee that includes stakeholders, as well as they have to disseminate report to civil society. Then they have to begin the next cycle of social auditing. When you look at the step 5, it's a very crucial step. In this step only most of the activities they could carried out. Before step 5 till step 4 they prepare to carry out the social auditing process in the field, and the social auditing will happen in this step, specifically in the step. Here whatever the accounts that will be presented to the social auditor, as well as whatever the informations they have collected, it can be collated, it can be interpreted, as well as it can be presented to the civil society, because civil society sometimes they closely work in the field and they may be very close association with the beneficiaries. Thus the civil society organization, they could able to disseminate the final findings of the social auditing to the beneficiaries. Once they complete this process, then they decide to begin the next cycle of social accounting. The last and final step in this process is that feedback and institutionalization of social audit. This is very important. Thus, in the beginning itself, I have told you the social auditing specifically to know that whether the benefits have reached or not. In this entire process, what happened is that the stakeholders also, stakeholders as well as whoever beneficiaries, they actively involved in the process of doing social auditing. During this entire process, they get empowered. For example, if some program specifically meant for the women, Certainly the women, they have to come forward, they have to actively involved in the process of social auditing. When they actively involve in the process of social auditing, they get empowered themselves. In that process, they could able to know the various aspects of particular program, why the government has conceived or pursued that particular program, in which what objectives they are implementing those programs. For example, to reduce the school dropout, that is the main objective of one particular program of Government of India. Then they may, like, they have to identify the school going children and ensure that they are sent to the school during the admission cycle. It's very important for the local governments as well as school education department. They have to actively collaborate with the community to identify the school going children, and they have to ensure that they have sent it to that particular school. That is the first process. Second process is that this entire process, one has to enlighten, or one has to make the community people to realize the significance of or importance of girls' education. Then once they realize the significance or importance of girls' education, they don't make the girls to drop out after certain class. For example, they may study up to 10th, high school or higher secondary. Some of them, they may not enter into collegiate education. Once, we need to, when you do the social auditing, one must come to know the reasons for not sending the girl children to the higher education or higher secondary or high school education, maybe due to the various reasons. Once we identify those reasons, maybe the government as well as the civil society organization try to rectify those issues. Then next cycle onwards, certainly the dropout rate will reduce it. This is the process. The entire social auditing process will empower the community, as well as they get personal empowerment, and make them to realize the significance of particular program or policies and the reasons for implementing the particular programs or policies. If some of them, if they did not get benefit, or if they were not part of that particular policies and programs, they could also realize the importance of that particular policies, and the next cycle onwards they actively come together and they will be part of that government policies and programs. That is very important. Thus, in the step 6 is that feedback and institutionalization of social audit. This is very important. In this, why are we talking about the institutionalization of social audit? See, social audit itself a process. As I have mentioned, it will empower the community, as well as it will empower the beneficiaries, as well as it will empower all the stakeholders, all the stakeholders, whether the implementing agency or whether it's a beneficiaries. It empowers everybody. The process itself an empowering process. Thus, once you make that social audit as part of any institution or as part of any organization, it makes that organization very successful organization. As well as when they do or carry out the social audit, certainly that particular organization will regularly get a feedback. Thus, the feedback, whatever the feedback they get it will fine-tune the existing policies, legislations, as well as administrative functioning and programming towards social objectives. Thus, this social audit is a process, and carried out. It has to be carried out continuously. It will carried out in different cycles. Every year, or some organization may decide to carry out once in 2 years, once in 3 years. Thus, there will be a follow-up action. Once the report is prepared, whatever the gaps identified in the existing implementation or whatever the gaps identified in the existing policies, that can be fulfilled, and for fulfilling those activities, the organization could able to do the follow-up actions. As well as, maybe I have mentioned in the beginning itself, many of the civil society organizations, they may actively participate in implementing various programs and policies. During the social auditing process, it is important to review the support of civil society for its participations. If some of the civil society organizations, if they are not actively participate, maybe the government can seek the support of the different civil society organization for successfully implementing the particular policies or programs. Thus, in the last step is to institutionalization of the process. That is the very important. Before we wind up, I would like to quickly say about that. All learners, you must be wondering in which level social audit can be carried out. There are two levels. One can carry out the social auditing process. One is at the organization level, whatever the organization, whether it's a government, private or NGOs, whichever level one can carry out the social auditing. Another at the civil society level, that is the private, non-governmental organizations, community-based organizations, even universities, schools, consumer organizations, SOGDS at individual level, whatever the level, one can carry out this social auditing process. Hope you could able to understand the significance of social auditing. And when we talk about the gender auditing, when we do the social auditing, gender should be a significant component and it should be part of the social auditing process. If you have any doubts or queries, please write to us. Our email ID is available with the IGNOU website. And if you have any doubts on this topic or any other topic related to Master's Program in Gender and Development Studies, please mail it to us. Then we are ready to rectify your doubts. Thank you so much for listening this session. Thank you.